Hi guys, welcome back to Maddie's Mood Swings. Let's jump right into the video today, honey. So I'm gonna talk about what happened to me on New Year's Eve and what I learned from it. A hot mess. So I went on a date, and we decided to go to a bar. And we had already had a few drinks and a couple of shots, right? So I ended up going to a restroom, and the restroom was like a one-person restroom. And TMI, but it was that time of the month. And ladies, do we not take a little longer when it's that time of the month? Like, we're just trying to get our whole entire life together in there. So I was in the restroom, and all of a sudden, I heard this woman start knocking on the door super loud, like mad aggressive. And she starts yelling, "What the hell are you doing in there? Hurry the fuck up." And then she starts saying a bunch of other things. And I begin to go from 0 to 100. Like, I end up getting so mad. I can feel my blood boiling, right? And she's still like nonstop just knocking on the door, right? And I'm like, wait a second. And she's still knocking on the door like crazy. And then before I tell you what happened when I opened the door, let me tell you where I come from. So I was raised in an environment where you don't let anyone disrespect you, or else you will be that person who would constantly get picked on or constantly get bullied. There was no room for weakness. And that's what I learned in the neighborhood that I lived in. It was either you defend yourself or you're gonna continue to get bullied and continue to have to deal with a lot of disrespect. And so I kind of adapted that idea of constantly living on defense mode and constantly having to show aggression, or constantly having to for that switch to happen quickly on I'm ready, you know? And I'm not trying to say that I'm a hard ass or that I'm a tough person or any of that. Unfortunately, that's the environment I grew up in, so that's what I learned. And so I ended up opening the door, and I opened the door and I said, "What the fuck is your problem?" I said, "I wasn't even in here for that long." And I got out of the bathroom, and she started yelling at me. And then the security guard heard the commotion. So he comes over, gets in the middle of us, and she's still like going. And I was getting so angry to the point where, have you ever experienced yourself getting so angry to the point where you don't even hear what the person is saying anymore? Like, she was just doing this, and I can hear like I can hear the noise of like the bar, everyone talking, everyone moving around and like laughing and all of that. But like what she was saying wasn't clicking to me. And I can see the security guard trying to calm me down and her just yapping. And I say, you know what? It's okay. Let her go into the bathroom and use the restroom. But when she's done, let me walk into that bathroom with her. Let me lock the door and let us handle our business, and you deal with whoever comes out. And she stops like talking. And then the security guard convinces me to like just keep walking, and he finally like calms me down. Well, the next day, I was reflecting on the night before, and I was reflecting on what happened, and I started having like almost like this conversation with myself, and I began to feel embarrassed. I began to start trying to justify my actions, and they could be justifiable. Some people could say that she was completely in the wrong and that she deserved for me to like respond in that way. And I was telling myself she got me out of character, right? But then I paused and I said to myself, no, you let yourself get out of character. You have no control over what other people do or say. And then I started to think, why did I react in that way? Why wasn't I able to control my anger in that moment, or my feelings, or that passion, or whatever you want to call it? Why was I not able to control that? Why did I react in that manner? And I realized that our behavior all stems from the things that we learned when we were younger, in the environment that we grew up in. And because I adapted that, almost like that personality trait of like, because it ends up being a personality trait because you do it so often and it becomes such a normal thing that it's secondhand nature to you. It's almost like a reflex at that point. That I realized that that's all I knew when I was growing up. But that it served me when I was young. It served me when I was going through and living through that environment, because that's what I needed to do to survive in that environment. But now, as an adult, I no longer need that. And it is my responsibility to unlearn that lesson. And I should have just opened the door and said, here's the bathroom. It's all you. And even if she would have kept talking, I should have ignored it and kept going, because I know better now. And because I understand that people can only move at their level of understanding. And if you know more than they do and you understand more, it is your responsibility to do better. Although doing better is so hard sometimes, especially in that kind of situation. But I no longer want to be the kind of woman that reacts in that way anymore. So I have to be mindful of the environments I put myself in. I have to be mindful of the things that I do if I want to change, if I want to fully make a difference within myself. And most importantly, I have to hold myself accountable. I cannot give myself no free passes. And that is what I learned. That I need to unlearn that lesson of always being on defense mode or always being ready when someone is remotely disrespectful. Not every situation requires that reaction. And that I have to be mindful of that.